Welcome to the Entrepreneurial Biome podcast, a space for nurturing the ecosystem of business, body, and living. What would it be like if you gave your body a leadership role in your business and chose greater happiness every day? These are the conditions that create a healthy biome and a thriving business. I'm your host, Heather Nichols, and I'm so happy you're here. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Entrepreneurial Biome podcast. We are on location in Mexico this week. I am at my house in Mexico for the first time for the season. We come down here when it gets colder in the northern latitudes, and it's still pretty darn hot down here. It's not cool. It cools down here to where it's delightfully warm, but it hasn't quite gotten all the way down yet. So we're baking but happy, enjoying it. I just finished being part of a really beautiful creation over the weekend in Mexico City. It was the Global Access Consciousness Global Bars class with Dr. Dane here. I had the total delight to be part of creating the class and one of the online hosts for the class. And, it brought me to Mexico. So I thought, well, may as well come down to my house while I'm here. And wow, it was incredible. We had almost 700 people live in the room. If you want to check out what that was like, you can go to my Facebook page, Heather Nichols CF, and check out some video and photo footage there. And then online, we had almost 1,000 people online. So it was a big class. It was a beautiful class. If you are not familiar with the Access bars, it is one of my favorite things in the world. It actually was the thing that introduced me to Access Consciousness, and it's a hands-on modality, an energetic modality where you just place your hands on somebody's head. And if you don't have anybody, you can do your own. And you just touch these points, and these 32 different points on the head. And as you do, just this energy the bars start to run. The bars are like these different points correspond to different areas. And all kinds of thoughts, feelings, and emotions that we have that really keep us from the ease, joy, and glory of being ourselves. Start to dissipate and clear, and really change. A lot of things change, and it's pretty magical. So, and the cool thing about it is when you run bars, lots of people get free, because if you're letting go of all kinds of points of view that you have, there's probably other people connected to those points of view. And so it's like when you get 1,700 people together running bars, it's pretty life altering and planet altering and world altering. So it was very cool. And one of the things I've noticed, I kind of dove right in. I flew the next morning. I worked yesterday. I worked today. I've been facilitating classes and sessions and stuff like that. Jumped right in, and boy, today it's been kind of like, wow, who am I? What am I? What's going on? And I thought I would just do a little podcast about that. I was like, well, we got to post a podcast tomorrow. So what can I talk about? And I always like to talk about whatever is relevant. And for me, a lot of times I'm kind of tapped into some stuff that other people are tapping into as well. And anytime you have a really big change in your own life, or a big change in the world, or you have like a big energetic clearing around something, there's a lot that becomes available that wasn't available before. And sometimes it can seem kind of disconcerting, or a little like you don't really know who you are anymore, or what to do, or where to go, or what to choose, or what to create. And that was, for me today, it's been kind of, in some ways like that, and then in some ways not. But I was just joking with my partner Brian, like I was kind of feel like today's like a walk around in circles day. I also I facilitated a 2-day X-Men class starting today, and boy, that was pretty powerful too. A lot of letting go of definition and form and structure. And it's one of these things that like we don't realize, I mean, people who use the tools that I facilitate and share, the tools of access consciousness and some of the other stuff that I do, it's like you have to be kind of a badass. There's a lot of courage actually required to be willing to basically not have a defined reality. And that's like, nobody teaches us that. Nobody talks about that. It's actually how we come into the world as, when we have, we take up these bodies of ours, as a being, as an infinite being. But nobody, is like, welcome to the world. Now let's explore what you know about being an infinite being on this planet, and how to create. And so most of us don't grow up with that kind of like education, and also having our unique awareness being fostered, for, what we can be in the world that's different, what we can create in the world that's different, what we can have that's different, the possibilities that are available to us that aren't available to other people. And it's not about like being more privileged or less privileged, or it's not even about that conversation at all. It's just like every person has a unique perspective, awareness, knowing about things, about what's possible, about what they could create, and unique desires for how they would like to live their life, and what they would like to enjoy. And but we try so hard to make ourselves fit into the rest of the world and to be relevant in the rest of the world with the rest of the world. And in doing so, we really cut off who it is that we are, and eliminate so much awareness that we have as an infinite being as to what's actually true and what's possible for us. And so it really does require like like a very different level of choice, courage, curiosity, kind of delving into who you are actually, willingness to let go of things, willingness to let go of people, willingness to let go of different structures in our lives that kind of determine what we think we can and cannot choose, and what we think is possible and isn't possible. And I know for me, a lot of it has been like this kind of like, I always sort of judged myself as like this, kind of living in fantasy land or whatever, because that's a lot of how other people judge me. And, as this kind of like head in the clouds, person. And people still do, and that's fine. The more I function from that, like the space of that and the lightness of that and the like being undefined as that, the more I create. Like that's how I created this beautiful home in Mexico. It's like from just being like, oh, let's go to Mexico. I don't know why, and then like, oh, let's go to La Manzanilla, and oh, let's look at houses, and just following the energy without any knowing of like how to create it, or like having my ducks in a row, having everything lined up. It was just like the energy is presenting itself. Let's follow that, and that is, I mean, we have this beautiful home here. And that is how we created it. It was just like we kind of stumbled upon it by following the energy. And then when we decided to buy it, it was like the money was created, it was there when we needed it to pay for it. And so it's a very different way of functioning. And a lot of times we make ourselves very wrong for how we function. And when we do that, we judge ourselves. We don't get to have the beauty of what's possible. And with the change in, I mean, a 1700 people, like 1700 people across the planet running bars, was it's a very different space of just like it creates a different space in the world. And then, you get to receive it whether you were there or not. If you believe in magic and energetics and all of those things, like you get to just like you can just allow yourself to be part of that kind of like slipstream of consciousness, and you don't have to have taken the class to receive the change that gets created. And a lot of times when you do, it's like it's cool, when you get to be part of a class and you get to have change in a different way. But like the world is different today than it was 3 days ago. And so with that, it's like, now what? And you may not be perceiving that specifically because of this class, but if at any time in your life you've ever felt like, gosh, there was so much change, I don't really know what to do now. That's really cool, actually. I want to acknowledge that, because for people to allow themselves to be that kind of undefined, again, takes a lot of courage. And it's oftentimes like we resist it. We don't let ourselves kind of let go to that degree because we we're not willing to be that undefined, because we keep ourselves defined for the world around us, the people around us, like, so we're relevant in the world, so we know that we're a good person, we know that we're right, we know that we know that we're not wrong. We like there's all of these like we call them in access bases of reality, like these kind of fundamental things that we believe to be true, that we orient towards to make sure that we fit, to make sure that it works, to make sure that our businesses are going to be successful, or we're going to have okay relationships, or people are going to like us, or we're not going to be alone. And all of that serves to kind of erode the access that you have to your being and your awareness of what's possible to create. So when you start to have less definition and you start to have less of a sense of like, not this clear sense of like, this is where I'm going, like that less definition, it's really cool. And if we can allow ourselves if we can give ourselves the gift of that, like the space and the allowance to go, I'm going to explore this and see what happens. Recently in a class, I can't remember who said this, which facilitator, if it was Gary Douglas or Dane here in an access consciousness class. One of them said, when discomfort is the beginning of chaos, and chaos is the beginning of creation. And for people that are seekers, energetic beings, like people who have a different sense of possibility in the world, chaos is really our true, like it's our creative wheelhouse. It's our creative home. It's our creative world. And, but we don't know how necessarily to navigate it, or how to not even navigate it, but like how to utilize it, how to receive from it and create from it. So we kind of push it away. We get discomfort, we get uncomfortable, and we start to like look for the things that create comfort. And as we do that, we eliminate the chaos that is about to open up a new space of creation. If we can stay with it and lower our barriers and relax into it and be like, I feel so weird right now, I'm really uncomfortable right now, how cool is that? And start to ask different questions, then all kinds of new things start to show up. And if we looking at like kind of a more of a not even linear, but like a more kind of common conversation in the business world, that would be around innovation. And I've done some podcasts on innovation. I did one on intimacy with yourself and innovation, which is very relevant to this topic. When you like, in order to truly innovate is like to make new, right? That's basically what it means, is like to make things that are new. In order to truly innovate, we actually we can't have a starting point. We can't have a basis of reality. We can't have, like if you reference other things too much, like some things you can learn from and you can kind of be inspired by and, loosely, receive from those things. But if we're trying to build on something that already exists, it's like it stifles the innovation that's actually possible. Because like true innovation is like coming up with things that have never existed before. And when we do that, it's like that's part of the gift that we get to bring to the world and be in the world. But we have to have this space of like really presence with ourselves and trust of ourselves, and knowing that, like, being willing to put stuff out there that people might think is absolutely crazy, and just be willing to put it out there and see what shows up. And as we do that, like, we get to there's this movement that starts to occur. I've been doing this 75 days of the Access Consciousness, How to Become Money workbooks. There's two of them. There's a beginning one and an advanced one. And we're doing a daily exploration of it right now, from an energetic perspective. So energy pulls and energy flows based on these books. And right now we're playing a lot with the advanced book. We're on this 23rd day today. It's actually still open if anybody wants to come and play. It's on my website still, on the events page. But it's been such an incredible exploration. And I know, like, it's been so fun to see, like, these books just, boy, do they create money flow. I'm so amazed by every time I play with these books, like the money flow that shows up in my world and the worlds of people that I'm playing with and interacting with. It's pretty amazing. So that's a cool kind of like, kind of side effect, actually. And that's what we were talking about in the past 2 days. We were talking about, in this piece in the Advanced Money Workbook, that's about never wait, always create. That's a quote from Gary Douglas, the founder of Access. Never wait, always create. And when you don't wait and you're just like in this movement of creation and flow of creation and movement of awareness and like engagement with the creativity that is you and the possibilities that are available, and like truly engage with just like, I'm a creative being in the world, I want to play, and you're willing to be undefined, and you're willing to not know, and you're willing to be like, who the hell am I today? What just happened? Everything just changed. Okay, well, now what's available? Now what's possible? When you're willing to be that undefined, that much chaos, and that much like committed to creation, just for the sake of creation. You don't wait for people to show up. You don't wait for things to happen. You don't wait. You take yourself off of wait and into create. And as that becomes your, like, the energy of the movement of things for you, things start to just flow. Like money starts to flow and people start to come into your world, and all these things just start to move because you are being the source. You are leading in your own life with the energy of chaos and creation. And when you feel like, I don't know what to do, I don't know where to go, there's been so much change. It's like such an amazing moment to ask a question. And asking questions is one of the like underlying, or like, it's kind of like this, it's like a question sparks creation in a lot of ways. It gives you like a truly different question, a new question. It will give you a different awareness. It'll give you new awareness. It'll give you access to new choices. And it just moves things like in a way that nothing else does. Like no level of defining things and being like, okay, here's everything that I'm doing, and now I'm going to do it, and now it's going to be done, and it'll be done. That doesn't really, that doesn't really, like, that will only basically, when you create from that kind of like structured judgmental space, like the judgment of like how creation works and what to create, and like, ducks in a row kind of creation. When you create from that space, you'll certainly be able to create things, but it probably won't be as powerful, effective, abundant, successful as you would like it to be. And because as seekers of the world, it's so much more for most of us about the energetics and about the curiosity of, well, what's new? what could I create that hasn't existed before, that hasn't been before? The only way to really access that is to allow the definition to go away, to allow the discomfort to show up, to allow the chaos to emerge, and to get out of this need to be defined. When it does, we get uncomfortable. We're like, oh, what's going on? Who am I? What's going on? Like, is anything that I was creating before even relevant anymore? I've had that so many times in the past 15 years of doing access. Like I start to create something and then I have a big shift, and then it's like, do I still want to create that? And a lot of times, side note, that's because you're not really creating from being, you're creating more from like, this is what I should do. So sometimes things fall away, and that's okay. It's not that big of a deal unless we make it a big deal. But you don't have to make it a big deal, because it's like space opens up for something even more dynamic and productive and creative and alive. And so as those things open up, it's like that's where we really start to, like, the space for the new, the space for the innovation, the space for new possibilities, the space for like the delight of creation, the joy of creation, for the sake of creation. Just because you're here, you're alive, you're on the planet. It's kind of like the jungle here that's just like, there's a patch of bare dirt. I'm gonna like spring forth, a plant, a tree, a flower, whatever. Um, that's how the earth creates. There's never a patch of dirt that's just plain, and uninhabited by something. That's the like insistency of and I don't even know if that's a word, but the insistency of creation, like how the earth insists upon creation, um, for no reason, no result, no need, no sense of like, this has to be, this tree has to be, it has to grow. It's like, it's just how the earth works. And it's kind of just how we work. It is just how the seekers of the world work. And if we look at the entrepreneurial biome, it's exactly that. It's like having that, like, no patch of soil go, be like unadorned, and as the biome, like this, the ecosystem of your life starts to build and flourish and grow, it's like the things will fall away, that like the trees or the bushes or the plants will die that don't serve anymore, or the leaves will fall. We're in fall now in the North America. Or there will just be, there's just like this constant reorganizing of the biome and the ecosystem, that is, it has its own intelligence, it has its own evolutionary force and insistence. And you can see that with the earth as well. So when we allow our lives to be like that, it's like there may be, the falling of the leaves and the trees are bare, and we're like, okay, doesn't seem like anything's going on here. It's winter, but there's always going to be a spring. The leaves will always grow. There's always this underlying energy of generativity and creation it's always there. We refuse it, we squelch it, we squash it down, we don't allow ourselves to have it because we want to be relevant in other people's lives, or we want to make sure we have friends, or we're successful, or people will pay us money, or whatever. In my X-Men class today, somebody said, gosh, I feel like if I just keep going with how, like how much space I am stepping into and how much I'm trusting me, that I'm going to disappear. And it's kind of like, if you look at that and you go, well, it's like, if you are worried about disappearing, which a lot of us do have that kind of existential, thing, that can serve as this distraction that keeps you from being like, yeah, if I disappear, whatever. And the funny thing is you're not going to disappear. And this is what we got to in the class, was like, are you going to disappear? Or are you just going to become so potent and so powerful? People may not be able to see you or perceive you in the same way, but a whole bunch of new people kind of lean in and then start to contribute and come and they want to be your clients or whatever. So allowing those cycles and allowing yourself to stay in question continues to fertilize that soil where there's so much molecular activity happening under the ground in the name of growth and creation and evolution. And so even in those moments where you're like, I don't know, what now? Like just stay with it, have fun, go do something fun. Like today I was like, I think I just need to go get in the ocean, which I am definitely going to do. But we just, we think we have to just like keep plugging away, but sometimes really just going like, I'm going to go be in nature, or I mean, for me, even like I'm going to come and do a podcast or move my body in a certain way, or just, take a nap. I mean, whatever it may be, all of everything that we do when it's following the energy, it feeds the biome in such a beautiful way. And the relaxation, the rest, the play in the ocean, the being in nature, the whatever it is, feeds the soil and it adds nutrients to the soil so that the evolution of your life and your business can become so much greater. And a lot of times what happens is that it actually, I was just chatting with a client about this the other day. It's like a lot of times what happens is you're creating all kinds of things, but you don't realize that you are, because it has such a sense of ease and simplicity to it. And all these things are being created, but you don't even realize it, because you used to have you used to have the point of view of like, I need to work for, to make this happen. But now the work isn't really like the struggle and the proving and the efforting. It's not there so much anymore. And then it's just like things are just occurring. The jungle is growing, the biome is growing. And I can't even emphasize enough how dynamic and energy relaxation is with all of this. So I guess the very short way to say all of it is like, when you don't know what to do, relax. Maybe that's what we'll call the episode. When you don't know what to do, relax, because that allows you to get know you more and have more awareness, more choices, more possibilities, more creations, more fun, more ease, joy, and glory, more nutrition and I'm using that in the much broader context than just your body. But it does nourish our bodies too, but like nutrition for the biome that is your life, and that entrepreneurial biome that is your life. And it's just I'm blown away all the time at how much easier it is than we think it is, and than I think it is, and than I thought it was yesterday. And it's like it becomes this thing. Like people ask me all the time, like when I travel, they go like, is it work or pleasure? And I'm like, yes. Work is pleasure, pleasure is work. I don't work, and yet I work, but I don't work because I never feel like I'm working. I just do what I love, and I create my living, creation of living. That's my thing. I have a class. I have I've been playing with those energies for a long time, the creation of living. And I've done some podcasts about it as well. But just that, like the sense of having, like, allowing pleasure and hedonism and the joy of being alive to be your guide, and knowing what you're asking for, being willing to be different, and then just seeing, like, it really does, things really show up. The more you're willing to relax, be you, be different, have fun, enjoy, the easier your life works, and you may have some pushback from people in your life. So what? And that's where I'm so grateful for the tools of access consciousness, like the bars and all the verbal stuff and different classes and things, because it's helped me to really get to this place where I'm like, I don't like the judgments of other people. I can't stop myself anymore for that. Like, that's just the way I don't want to be that busy dealing with everybody else's judgments. I'd rather just be busy with creating and enjoying my life and living, and seeing the magic and miraculousness of how it unfolds every day. And it's powerful, and it seems simple and and head in the clouds. And that's fine. If you want to judge me as that, that's totally cool. You don't have to have it, but you wouldn't probably still be listening if that was the case. But I've had to just really trust myself and trust that I was like, that makes sense to me. When I heard that, I was like, that makes sense to me. So I've had to trust myself in the process of discovering what that is for me. And I'm grateful for the tools of Access Consciousness and all the other things that I do, like the body stuff and movement and my body, like the consciousness of my body, because it really has contributed so much to like my willingness to trust me. And no matter, even if when it makes sense to nobody else, trust me, keep going, keep moving, and seeing what gets created. And boy, it's just amazing. I mean, I'm just blown away. It's so incredible what is possible. Not a whole lot of people are willing to have that. You might be one of them, though. You know what you know. And I say that because it does really take a lot of courage to choose. And you cannot be like everybody else and be nice and, keep your friends when you're choosing for consciousness and you're choosing greater and you're choosing the joy of being alive. Most people don't want to have that. And when you have it, they don't like it. They don't want you to, they don't actually want to be around that, which is kind of funny. But what else is possible? So I think that's good for now. A little bit of a meandering journey on this here podcast. And it's funny. I was like, oh, we'll use this as the title. And now I don't even remember what I said. So we'll see what we call it. But thank you for being here and listening and playing and, share and all that stuff with your friends. If you like this, if it's a contribution to you, subscribe, all those things. I don't even know how that works. I just know I'm supposed to say that. No, I know on YouTube you can subscribe and like and comment, and as always, I've got lots of juicy classes coming up. Body stuff. Body Show Me starts next week. 3-day body class in Boulder, mid-November. I have a Business Done Different class where really explore, like if you want to take this conversation and actualize it into your life as a business, like create your business from this space. Business Done Different is an essential part of that. I would say it's contributed to me massively. So I'm doing that online November, I think it's the 19th or something like that for 4 or 5 days. I don't remember. I have to look at my calendar, but it's all on my website, heathernichols.com/events. I have 2 more days. I think we have private sessions and private session packages on sale until October 31st and 2024, depending on when you're listening to this. And as always, like private intensives, I love doing 6-month online private intensives and 2-day in-person private intensives. Those are so much fun for me. So lots of fun available stuff, and enjoy, have fun, have way too much fun, way too much relaxation, way too much ease, creating everything that you desire. I wish that for you. The world requires it and desires it. And if you do too, then choose it and see what shows up. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time. Thank you for joining me for the Entrepreneurial Biome podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, share, and subscribe. For more resources, check out my website at heathernichols.com and my social media channels as well. Have a beautiful day, and remember that your business thrives when you do.